We obviously want to grow together as young men. You've seen the problems your father went through, whether it be like with his marriage, financially, or with his health. You've seen that he's had to like pay off all this debt, all this mortgage to like fund the house you're living in. You've seen that he had to like struggle to pay your school fees, put you through like a nice private school because education might not be that good in your country. But then you've also seen like all this poverty pockets around the world. You've seen war around the world. And generally speaking, society and the world in general is in a good space right now. And you, as a young man, the next generation coming in, have the power to change that. So I want you to grab a piece of paper and jot down what you want to see in your own life. So like the things you want to achieve in the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 year. Put periods down to it. Then put a second like list of bullet points. And write down what you want to do into the people around you. Whether it be like your family, whether that be your friends, whether that even be your community, come to think of it. Write that down. And it's in this way that you can start like a nice ripple effect and affect the community as a whole. It's like going into the goals that you want to like have in your own life. This might be having like a nice feminine woman by your side. This might be achieving like the financial wealth. Or it might just be like having good health, being nice and fit, whatever the case is. Now, look at that and what do you need to do to achieve that? And frankly, because you have this big list of things to do, you'll probably be telling yourself, you don't have the time to do all of this. And this is where time management comes in. If you look at your but if you look at that, you're probably spending at least half an hour. Pretty much all of you are doing that. On Instagram, TikTok, or just doing mindless activities that you know for a fact is wasting your time. It's not helping you. It's not building the community around you. It's not helping your family. It's not doing any of that. Now, of course, I'm not saying you mustn't relax, but that is a very poor way of relaxing because you're actually not building yourself up through the relaxation. You're actually just overstimulating your mind. Instead, I recommend you meditate, listen to the Bible. Even that actually taxes your mind a bit, I have to be honest, but I think that does still relax it more than like TikTok or any of those things. Or literally, sleep. If you get an extra half an hour of sleep, that's great. But you need to have this like long-term vision in your mind of saying the action you are doing in this very moment, this very second, is going to play like even just a small bit in how your future unfolds. If you'd like do something deconstructive now, your trajectory might be something like this. But if you do something a bit more constructive, it might be like that. It seems like a small difference right now, but the compound effect is very applicable here. This is where the gym also becomes like a very interesting one. If you're someone who works out regularly, you've seen that like, yes, it hurts in the moment. You have all this muscle pain, you have to like do this like uncomfortable exercise like bench press or whatever exercise you don't like. I don't like bench press, but whatever it is. But you recognize it. A, that's going to build bigger muscles. I think that's great. But more importantly, it shows you that if you show up, you've like exercised your disciplined muscle and you've proven to yourself that you can commit to anything you set out to do. Even if it's hard, even if it's time consuming, if you know it's going to benefit you, you go out there and do it. And that just builds like a nice framework for yourself to work from. This applies to like studying if you're still a university student or if you're working. If you just show up every single day and put in the effort. If on days you're not feeling like today, I don't like saying this, but I'm not 100% in the mood of recording. But I know I need to do this. And this in itself exercises the discipline muscle and makes me like want to record more and all of that indirectly in the long term. So think about those like personal goals for yourself. Think about like the financial wealth you want to have a nice house with your woman, about the character to get a nice woman. But now I want you to take it to the next level. After a certain point, I'm not at that point yet, but now I am going to be. You can be at a point where you have all this financial wealth, you built up all this status, all this character, all of that good stuff. And it doesn't really benefit you anymore. Like sure enough, the numbers are getting bigger and your status is getting bigger. But it isn't benefiting you, so you might as well hand it over to someone who can benefit from it. And my intention when I get to this point is to start a shelter. I come from South Africa where there's like a lot of poverty, a lot of people living on the side of the street. They have no idea when they're going to be getting the next meal. And for me, that's heartbreaking. So once I get all the money, and actually that's a big reason I've started this channel in all honesty, to help get extra income, but nonetheless. Once I built up the money, I'm going to start a shelter for them, start like also a disability unit for like the elderly, and people who just like have needs for wheelchairs, hearing aids, all of those sort of things. And specifically for the homeless people. Sure enough, I'm going to give them food, shelter, running water, all of that good stuff. But I also want to give them like psychological lessons. Won't be by me, it will be like someone else. I might come in now and then. But, and to just speak to them on how to get like through this stage of their life where they're quite pessimistic. They don't know like where to turn. They don't know how they can improve their life other than like me coming in and giving them food. So they've like almost lost their hope. But I want to reinstall that in them. After which I'm going to teach them like basic lessons on how to like get a job, become a painter, become a carpenter, become a plumber. One of those sort of things. So they can go out there, help the economy, but also just feel like they're independent now. If they need to come back to me, open doors. But I want to put them in a position where they can at least go out there and help themselves out for a bit. It will really improve their like mental state and just their confidence in general. If this idea doesn't appeal to you, you can think of something like closer to home. If you like watching soccer, this one often comes to mind as well. Start like a nice football academy in your area. Then all the kids come to the academy, they learn like how to play soccer and all of that. And then they go through the ranks and become a professional footballer. And like just seeing all these young boys getting older, becoming better soccer players, it's probably going to give you like a nice warm feeling inside of you. Can help out the community, give them employment through the sake of like becoming a footballer. And that's the sort of impact you want to be leaving. Think of Mother Teresa. She did this like selfless deeds, but she had a good legacy left behind. Personally, I don't think it's a good idea to do it for that legacy. You should be doing it from a selfless place. But if that legacy mindset appeals to you, think of Mother Teresa and the impact she had. I want to like start this movement of creating a world where war is like no longer a big thing, where poverty in particular, poverty is actually my main focus, but where poverty is almost diminished. Because I'm going to start off in my home country, South Africa, but God willing, if I like build up an enormous amount of financial wealth, I'll start an international thing to the point where I can almost help the whole world. That is wholeheartedly my goal. That's not to say I don't want like some personal gains from the wealth. Of course I do. But frankly, of like the money I hope to be making, 5% is going to be mine and like my women's, my family's, all of that good stuff. After that, it is going to be going to like good causes like this. And I encourage you to think of something similar. It can be my idea, you can help me out on my cause. But it can also be your own, that like a problem you've seen in your country or just appeals to you a lot. It's going to create like a nice, strong generation of young men in the future, but also just help the state of the world as a whole. Well, with that said, bro, I'll see you in the next one. To become a better man.